You've been told that you need to do sales calls in order to grow and scale your coaching business, but it's just not true. In fact, a year ago, we quit sales calls altogether. And now, because of that decision, we do 1.6 mil a month on a bad month. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact system that we use to sign a new high-ticket client every 16 hours without talking to a single soul. All right, full transparency. I love shooting videos outside, except when it starts to rain. So I've got some soggy notes, but I've also got coffee and karage chicken. So this video is going to be a banger. So the rumors are true. The world's different now. The market's changed. People buy differently. You've got options that you never had before, but most coaches are still stuck selling and marketing the way they sold in 2021. But it's 2026 and beyond. There's a new game to play. So selling with sales calls made sense before because the market had a real core problem that there was information asymmetry. In other words, you had knowledge that your prospects didn't. The only way they could get the answers they needed was to talk to you. In fact, the sales call was a trust verification tool for them, as well as a sales tool for you. They didn't know what was going on. They didn't know if they could trust you. They didn't know if your stuff was legit. The only way to get that information was to talk to you on the phone or on Zoom or something like that. But those days are gone. People used to book sales calls to find out if they could trust you. Now, there's still a trust demand, but trust has moved upstream. They find out if they could trust you way before that. They don't even book a call if they don't trust you. So trust has moved upstream, particularly with content and media. So nobody's going to come to your offer doc going, I wonder if I can trust this person. They've made that decision beforehand and they look at the offer doc to go, I like this person, but is this offer right for me right now? So the market's changed. Buyer behavior has changed as well. Because in the old days, we had a bunch of high-ticket virgins that never bought coaching before. And so talking to you was new and scary and they needed to filter you with the conversation. But the truth is that there's no high-ticket virgins anymore. Everyone has talked to someone like you before, bought something like you said before, had an experience, usually not a great one, but they know how the dance is made. That makes them way more resistant to getting on a call, even if it's someone whose stuff they've been following. In the old days, because of the information dynamic and the fact that they didn't know what was going on, you had the power, but that's completely different. Now we've got high agency buyers. They're already problem aware, they're solution aware, and they're not looking to be sold. They don't like high pressure. They don't like the weird power dynamic that people try to pull, manipulative sales bullshit. They just want to see the offer and go, does it nail my problem? Does it have a promise that I trust and a plan? And can I afford the price? And they can make their own damn decisions. Shit, man, you've been buying stuff on the internet for years. Why should this be any different? The third reason that so many coaches still sell with sales calls is because that's how we start. Because when you're getting started, it's the simplest thing. It needs no tech and it's really simple. Get somebody on the phone, talk to them about your stuff and have them buy. It's simple. Watch very closely. Simple, but sucky. After you've done a few sales calls, you get the process. I'm really freaking good at them. I've done hundreds of those things. Got really boring really quick. So if you stick at this, you've got two options. Either spend all of your time closing schmucks on the phone or on Zoom. Kids walk in, hey dad, what'd you do today? I closed schmucks. I mean, look in the mirror, dude. There's got to be a better way to live. So many coaches live in the closing schmucks game. Not super fun. The ones who are clever swap closing schmucks for managing a team of schmuck closers. And so you end up running a call center, managing dudes, and you trade coaching clients for managing a bunch of dudes who are whiny, they say the leads aren't good enough, give you a bunch of excuses. You're just hurdling toddlers. It's awful. I don't know about you, man. I got better shit to do with my life. Because of the two things we just talked about, trust has moved upstream with content, and because the buyers are smarter, there's an easier way and a much more scalable way to sell your coaching. It's attract leads, let them read the offer, and make their own damn mind up. And they do. And they will. I almost titled this video, How We Sign 30 High-Ticket Clients a Month, and I picked 30, even though the number's really 45, because I didn't want to freak you out. We signed 45 high-ticket clients into Black Belt last month and the month before and the month before. And the only reason it wasn't higher is because we capped it at 45. We had 67 people try to buy and we just refunded the other 22 because we were full. Thank you very much. Life is good. We don't have a demand problem or a supply problem. We've just got enough. Thank you very much. The system just works. All right, let's get down to business. The number one question I get about this stuff after well, how does it work and will it work for me is this. But don't sales calls convert better? Isn't the conversion rate better on a sales call? I mean, yeah, it probably does. But you can't go to a shop and spend conversion rate. You spend money. And so only idiots think about conversion rate because the thing we really want to be talking about is throughput, is how many clients we sign per month. Let me show you what I mean. Again, think old way, new way. I don't know what kind of call-based funnel you're running, but it probably looks something like this. Imagine a funnel, but we're just going to flip it on the side because that's the way my paper goes, so deal with it. 6 phases. How do people start? Well, they see stuff on socials, or they click on an ad, or they get an email. Where do we send them? Well, we send them to a call booking page. A chance for them to book in on this day at that time. Here's the thing. Sometimes they don't. So you lose dudes. They book a call. The idea is that they show up for that call. Many people do a 1 call close. Others do a 2 call close. We'll do a 2 call here, triage call. So they book a call and they show up. But sometimes they don't and they leak there too. Let's say that call goes really well and we book the actual sales call. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes we make an offer. And sometimes it's clear to them that it's not a match. So you just wasted a bunch of time. When you make an offer, you get a happy client paying you money, sometimes, but just as often, they don't say yes. Every step in the sales process is an opportunity for people to not do the thing that we want them to do. So everyone designs it for, yeah, it's perfect. Here's the thing. When they talk about conversion rate, this is embarrassing, but it's true. When they talk about conversion rate, they're not talking about the conversion rate from here to here. They're talking about the last bits. How many people did I offer to say yes? That number looks really good and really impressive. But let's be honest, dude, you lost most of your dudes before you even got to that place. Uh-oh. So let me show you the new way. The new way is much simpler, and it's not built on conversion rate optimization for the tiny last step in a long, lengthy, leaky process. Instead, it goes like this. There's 2 steps. It starts the same way. There's socials, they see your content, or they click on an ad, or they click on an email. Where does it send them? It sends them directly to the doc with the offer in it. There's no leakages along the way. So yeah, this probably converts a little bit less, particularly the first time. But guess what? It's way easier to get 100 people to see this thing than it is to get 100 people to get to that point there. So you're measuring apples and karaage chicken. They're not the same thing. Conversion rate is a vanity metric, and it's important if you're running that to optimize all the steps. But honestly, your biggest problem right now isn't my conversion rate. You don't have a conversion rate problem. You've got not enough people even saw your offer problem, which this solves in 1 move. Okay. Let's talk about the gurus. So why are all the gurus still telling you to do it the old way when there's clearly a new, better way? Firstly, because they don't know how. And number 2, they think it doesn't scale, and they are dead wrong. So let me get this straight, Tux. Are you saying you think sales calls suck? Yeah, I totally am. I think there's only 3 legitimate reasons for doing sales calls. 1, you're a psycho who enjoys the thrill of closing schmucks, or you enjoy managing schmuck closes. If you've got this far, that's probably not you. Second reason is actually a legit valid reason. If you're launching a brand new offer or you're a brand new coach, I highly recommend, in fact, I insist that you do sales calls first until you've signed at least your first 5 clients. That's how you learn your market, sharpen up your offer, and you learn what to say in your marketing and sales materials so the deals close easier from then on. A couple of months ago, we were in Palm Springs at a boardroom event, and I was sitting down with Ali Abdal, who I love. By the way, you should follow Ali on YouTube. He's amazing. We helped him design and launch his new program. That's why he came to us. In his first cohort, I think he signed 20 or 30 people. And deliberately, he did it on sales calls so we could learn. But then it was time to he's got it dialed. It's working really well. Yes, it is raining on my shoulder. He's got it dialed. It's working really well. And he's about to do it again. I'm like, why are you doing sales calls? And he just didn't know that you didn't have to. How many sales calls did you do to get the 30? And he said it was like 45 or 40 or something like that, maybe 50 calls. I'm like, did you learn a bunch? Yeah. Great. Do you think you've learned enough? Yeah, I think so. Great. Did you enjoy the sales calls? Hell no. Well, let's never do that again. I showed him what I'm about to show you. Sold out and sold out and sold out. 45 people a month. It's very easy. Only valid reason for doing sales calls, other than you love closing schmucks, is to learn something brand new. All right, so let's talk about how to. Honestly, the hardest part about this whole process is the fear you're going to have about giving up the way you've been used to. That was definitely the case for me. I thought about selling without sales calls for like a year before I pulled the trigger. Let me show you the experiment that got me over the line, because I think it'll inspire you and hopefully give you permission to do the same. We treat our business like a lab, and we're always running experiments. Every experiment follows the scientific method. Usually there's some kind of problem that we're trying to solve, a hypothesis or idea we have, a test that we run, and then we review the results and make some decisions. Here was the problem. I just wanted on the record that it's dripping on my shoulder right here. But I'm tough and I'm doing this for you. So here was the core problem I was trying to solve. At the time, I'd stopped doing sales calls myself ages ago, and I built a sales team. I had the team of schmuck closers. By the way, they're amazing people. I love every single one of them. They weren't schmuck closers. That was just the model I knew at the time. We had 9 people in sales working really hard. To be honest, the biggest problem wasn't a sales problem. It was a marketing problem. Because marketing wasn't as good as it frankly needed to be, the sales team had to work overtime. Every time somebody like raised their hand or even clicked like on something, they would have to pounce because there just wasn't enough good leads, pre-qualified, pre-sold coming towards us. So they had to pounce. We had some great months. We had some awful months. I'm sure you've had the same. If you average it out that year, it's like 9 or 10 new clients a month from a team of 9. That's 1 each. I'm embarrassed to admit this, but it's the truth. I got to be honest with you. There was people in the DMs across different channels. There was triage people who would qualify. There's a closer. There's a there's a sales manager. All of those people, and it wasn't working. And I think it's because when we thought about what's going on here, this was the problem. We were sales heavy because we were marketing light. We were down here. Marketing was lame, so we had to work double time down this end of the spectrum. The hypothesis was, what would happen if marketing actually got good? Because I got good at marketing in the first place because I was terrified of sales. And I figured out way back then and then probably forgot that good marketing, it's really hard to write on wet paper, just so you know. The hypothesis was that good marketing makes sales easy. And sometimes unnecessary. I can't even spell necessary, whatever. So we decided to run a test. What would happen if we took the sales team out of the equation for a little bit? So we had 9. 3 of them were gangsters. They were OGs, friends of mine for a long, long time. And we kept 3, and to the other 6, we parted ways. Don't worry, we looked after them. We helped them get jobs in other places. Nobody was hurt. Okay. What do we do with the other 3? Well, for 3 months, we locked them in a cupboard. They were on full pay, average of their last 6 months' pay or whatever it was for 3 months, on the condition that they didn't talk to a single soul. So not allowed to do follow-ups, not allowed to message anybody. If somebody reaches out to you, ignore. I wanted the test to be pure. Let's see if marketing on its own can outsell sales. Well, what happened? Well, we had 3 goals. In the Olympics, they have like bronze, silver, and gold. We didn't really have a bronze, silver, and gold, but we did have a relieved, happy, and thrilled. Okay? So it looked like this. Phase 1. We would be relieved if we could sell 1 person without a sales team. There's 1. This is proof of concept. Oh my God, I'm not crazy. This might actually work. We'd be happy if we could match the sales team numbers, which is like 9 or 10. We'll call it 10. We'd be thrilled if we could get to 30 sales a month, because that adds $1 million a year to the business every single month. No chance, we thought. Probably not. Maybe. So we ran the test for 3 months. The very first month, we passed goal number 1. We sold 1 Salesless. In fact, we sold 12. So we beat goal number 1 and 2. We were both relieved and happy in 30 days. So we matched it. And then we beat it. And then we beat it by a little, and a little bit more, and then by a lot, and now by a really lot. I told you before, our numbers went 10, 15 a month, 20 a month, 30 a month. We're at 20 for a little bit, 30 for a little bit. October and November were a bit mental. 45, and then we just capped it there because we're happy. So the results were relieved, happy, and now thrilled. All right, Tux, sounds good. How the hell do you actually do it? Hopefully now you're convinced that it's worth at least listening to and maybe giving it a go. So let's take these same 3 steps, because there's only 3 things you need to make the whole system work. If you want to make a sale, relieved, you only need 1 thing. You need the doc. This is like the 1 or 2 page document which explains how the program works. You can make a sale this week just like that. If you want to sell more, we want to take the doc and add 1 move. And we want to add a deadline. This is how we go from making a sale to making a sale every week. And the deadline is a simple campaign. We'll walk through it in a minute together, where over the course of the week, we get people excited about the work you do, the problems, the proof, the plan, the philosophy, all the stuff. So they read the doc and say, I want in. But if you want to be thrilled, the thing that really moves the needle is we create demand. This is where content comes in. To be super honest, I could have made this whole video about the doc, but you'd be so disappointed because the doc is super easy. The better your content is, the more demand you generated, the less important your doc is. I've got a great friend who, honestly, when I looked at his offer doc, because he showed it to me, it read like a receipt. I thought he was just sending me like a bulleted list of like the 5 things that are in the program. I was like, okay, so that's what's in it. Where's the doc? He goes, no, that's the doc. I'm like, you send them that? It's like, yep. I couldn't believe it worked. But of course it worked, because built a great audience, and it sells like crazy. Good marketing makes sales easy and sometimes unnecessary. So we're going to do the doc, the deadline, and I'll show you how to build demand. So let's talk about your offer doc. It's your offer in a document, offer doc. I'm going to sketch it out for you, but I'm using fat pens. If you want to see a live one, you can study it, tear it down, make your own. I'll put a link in the description below. It'll probably say something like, look at Taki's offer doc here, or something clever like that. You can have a look. Is that cool? So the first thing we need to understand is the difference between a product and an offer. Sean has just passed me a protein bar. Let's have a look. That's the product. It's what your stuff is. You know, the calls and the da-da-da-da-da. The product doesn't change. If you're under $1 million a year, you should have one product, not 5 or 6 or a tripwire and a thing and a that, one. This is your offer. It's the packaging. It's the wrapping that we wrap your product in. And the truth is, the offer is the most important thing in terms of getting clients, in terms of keeping them and winning and developing a great reputation. Your product better be damn good. We're not going to talk today about your product. I'm going to assume it's good. If it's not, come find someone who can help you. I'd be looking for someone barefoot and Australian, but that's just me. Let's talk about your offer. In order to create a compelling offer doc, we need a compelling offer. Because all we're going to do is take the 5 ingredients and then pour them onto a page. So your offer is designed to be something that they'll be pumped to say yes to. There's only 2 forces which decide whether somebody says yes or they don't. It's perceived risk, perceived reward, right? And so our job in the offer is to remove as much of the risk as we can and make sure the reward is clear and compelling and tangible and obvious. Risk stops people from saying yes. Reward makes it more likely. And if these things are balanced, you can still do okay if you leverage urgency and scarcity, which we'll talk about in a minute. Really though, when we design the offer, our core goal is how do we remove as much of this as we can and how do we go heavy here so it sells itself. Your offer only needs 5 things. And we lay it out in a diamond. The things on the left, remove risk. The things on the right, add reward. The thing at the bottom, tips people over the edge. Let's start with the 2 most important. On the reward side, the most important thing your offer needs is a promise. A clear outcome, a result for people to get. Promises usually come in a big happy end result at the end. But if that's all we're selling, stay with me for a long time and eventually it'll get good. We're not going to sell very many of anything. So we usually break it up into 3 phases. First, quick result, then better result. Last, happily ever after. The wind just blew my page and now I've drawn a red line. It's my gift to you. On the opposite side, the second big factor, if we're going to remove the risk, is just how do we guarantee it? How do we make it safe for people to buy? The guarantee. It's basically, if you work with me, we'll get this result. And if we don't, what happens? I was chatting with a client today called Emma. She's a career coach to women 35 to 55 who are like mid to senior leaders and managers in a company. And her promise is, we'll get you your next job inside 90 days with at least a $10,000 pay rise, or we'll work with you for free until we do. Clear. These 2 go hand in hand. Promise, but if it doesn't happen, we'll look after you like this. Next up, bonuses. Bonuses are just reasons to do it right now. You don't have to throw the kitchen sink at it. The old days, we used to think that, we just throw as many extras as we could, but the truth is, people now value speed more than stuff. And so we only want to add bonuses that help them get a result better, faster, or easier than they could do with just the rest of the program alone. Bonuses. Next, on the risk side of things, is the payment plan. Are there ways to make it easier for someone to pay the money? So you probably have a pay in full or an annual. You might also have a monthly or a weekly or a 3-pay or whatever. We just want to engineer the pricing so it's easy for people to say yes. And then finally, the final part of your offer is, once we've dialed all of these up, is how do we add urgency, limited time, or scarcity, limited spots, to get people to do it now and not wait till later. When these 5 elements are dialed, your offer will sell itself and it doesn't need a salesperson. In fact, we want it to be so clear and written down that we just put it on a sheet of paper and slide it across a desk without saying a word and have them pick it up, read it and go, it sounds kind of great, I'm in. That's what we want. So that's what we did. And that's what you're going to do. So we take these elements and we put them into the doc, which I'll walk you through in a moment. In fact, if you want to see what they look like in practice, what I would be doing if I was you is okay, I get it, but I want to see it. What did I say that link was going to be called? Take a look at Taki's doc here or whatever it says down there. I want you to read it with this lens. I want you to be looking for the promise, the bonuses, the payment plan, the guarantee, and the urgency and scarcity. They're all real and they're all intentionally put in the doc. So we take your offer diamond and we stick it in the offer doc. I'm going to show you mine. If I were you, I'd like read through it with a fine-tooth comb because you're going to see all of the elements here in detail. I'll call out a few of the key pieces, but I need you to know that it doesn't have to be written perfectly. The offer itself is doing the heavy lifting. The doc is just how it's written down. Ours is polished. It's been refined over years. It works like a treat. But if yours isn't perfect the first time, that's not a reason to not do it. Also, when you first get started, you're probably going to like take one and just like change the word Taki to insert your name here. I get that. It's way better when you make it yours, but it'll be okay to start. It starts with a promise. First sentence. Our goal is simple: to get you to $1 million a year in just 4 days a week. Leads every day, sales every week, and clients who stay for years. That's the end result at the end of the process. Phase 1 and phase 2, they're a bit further down. I won't go through them all, but let's just go phase 1. Phase 1 is the first 2 months of working together. It's 2 months of leads, clients, and money. They're the 3 things that most people seem to want. Nobody's ever complained that we made the money and we weren't super strategic in the first couple of weeks. So the first 2 months are very tactical, focused on putting enough money in your bank account to more than pay for black belt for the whole year and giving you a game plan to scale it up fast. So that's phase 1. Phase 2 we'll skip for now. Phase 3 is it gets amazing and we get people to $1 million a year and we do it every week. There's another piece that isn't part of the offer doc, but it's really important if you want to attract the right clients without having to talk to them. A really clear description of who it's not for and who it is for. So this black belt is not for you if you're just getting started and you haven't made a sale yet. It's just not. If you think all you have to do is manifest and success will come to you, I think motion beats meditation most of the time. If you've already worked with 7 other coaches and they're the problem, I don't want to be number 8. And if you want to build a huge team, hustle 24/7, and be stuck in meetings trying to manage everything to grow, I'm just not your guy. So there's like a who it's not for, and then there's a who it is for, okay? Let's scroll down. So then we go through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, guarantee risk reversal. It pays for itself in the first 60 days. By the end of phase 1, we're going to know if we want to keep working together or not. So there's a 60-day love it or leave it period. If something's not right, or either of us just isn't feeling it, we just tear out the agreement, walk away as friends. So there's no risk. I'm just making it safe to start. As long as we're both good, we'll move on to scaling you up in phase 2 and 3 for the next 12 months. Pay plan's on there too. Bonuses are right at the bottom. P.S. As soon as you decide, we'll give you access to a little program we call 10K in 10 minutes. It's a cash injection series. It's 6 short videos that it takes you 10 minutes to watch, 10 minutes to do, and makes you 10 grand. It's kind of dope. A lot of people, about 30% of the people who join Black Belt before their kickoff call have already paid for Black Belt for the whole year just because of this. So that's fun. Urgency and scarcity. Normally it lives up the top. But at the time of this filming, Black Belt sold out in January and in February, and so we're open for March, but normally it'll say how many spots are left and when the applications close. All right, remember in the how-to I said there was 3 key parts? We've just nailed your doc. If you pause the video right now and you never did anything else, that'll be enough to sign a client this week. But I want more than one client this week. I want lots of clients every week. So then we need a deadline. So we've got a doc, but if you remember, the doc is the end of the process. And what we want to do now is work on how do we get lots of people this week to see it so that some of them buy from you. There's a lot I could say about this. I'm just going to give you the outline of the campaign that we run. There's other videos on the channel about how to do that. And I trust you to poke around and find them all. So when I'm planning our marketing, I think about the calendar across a month. And if an average month has 4 weeks, because, you know, calendars and stuff, I think every week should have a job. Every week we make an offer and we send people to it. What I want to do, instead of like mapping out the whole month, is I just want to zoom in to a week so you know what a campaign kind of looks like. So let's just pick this week right here and let's sketch out, if we want to make some sales that week, how do we do it? If you want to get more people to see your offer doc so that they buy, all you need to do is run something that we call the sold out sequence. It's a 1-week campaign and it looks like this. I'm going to show you the full thing. You don't have to do it all. Just take the bits which work for you. And often people will ask, when you say this on this day and this on this day, are you talking about emails or what do I do for socials? It's the same content. A great email is a great Instagram reel, is a great carousel. It's the same stuff. Every campaign starts with an announcement. Just a little note that says, we're about to open up the doors to this program. Keep an eye out. And it closes with either a countdown timer of there's 24 hours to go and then it's done, or there's 3 spots to go, there's 2 spots to go, there's 1 spot to go, depending on how you're playing. So what do we do in between? Well, that's where the fun comes. I like to look at my offer through 4 different lenses, and I theme one day about each of them. First up, I like to talk about the problems and pains that people experience and will continue to experience if they don't get this stuff sorted. That's day one. The next day is proof. Tell the story of a client who's done really well because of the thing that you're offering. Next up, your philosophy, which is going to highlight the old, bad, dumb way of doing things and your new, cool, better way, just like we did at the start of today's video. I like to do that on day 3, but you can put it wherever you want. Lastly, the plan. What are the steps? How do we implement the stuff? What do we do if we work together? If you want to see one of these campaigns, make sure you get my emails because you'll see these regularly, see it in action. So that's the full menu. You don't have to do all of these pieces. Well, I do, but you do you. Each one of these pieces at the end, whether it's a piece on social or an email, has a link to that beautiful golden doc that we just talked about before. We run this for a week, we sell out every time, and now we go from like a doc that makes us sale, or a sale every now and again, to sales every week. We call this the sold out sequence. And that, my friend, is the deadline piece. We can sell one, now we've got a system that we can sell many all the time. If we want to ramp it up and have a ton of fun, that's where demand kicks in. I'd like to dedicate this next bit to the scale bros who say you can't do big numbers without sales calls. Of course you freaking can. Here, with demand. Let me show you how it's done. If you want to scale it up, the thing that's missing is demand. Most people have lots of supply and not very much demand. The thing that I learned last year is that demand comes from brand. You know it's true because it rhymes. So here's what I mean. Compared to a year ago, our business is literally growing 5 times faster. 5 times more clients every single month joining and staying than 12 months ago. All because exactly 12 months ago, I made a decision to go pro with my content. I'm here shooting this video for you in the rain and the wind and all the stuff. And I'm not doing it because I want to get famous on the internet or become an influencer. I'm doing it because I want to be influential. Here's the key idea that everything comes back to. You see some people talk about running ads with a tripwire offer so they can liquidate the ad spend quickly. I've never been very good at that game. I'll just be honest. The way I used to run things was people would opt in and then I'd nurture them. And over time, eventually they'd get to the point that they'd buy. And some people would buy really quickly. Some would take weeks, some would take months. Some have been on my list for years and then finally decided it's the right time. I was focused wrongly on time on list. In other words, if they stay in the pot long enough, eventually some of them will cook. I mean, it's true, but I missed what was actually happening. What was really happening wasn't about how long they were on my list. It was about how much time they spent, time on brand. How many minutes they spent consuming my content. And so when I realized that it wasn't how long they were on the list that actually made a difference, it was how much time they spent consuming. Once I figured out that it was about time on brand, not time on list, we reoriented our whole lead generation and lead nurture strategy to focus on how do we get people to consume more of our content faster? Because bingers are buyers. We call this whole strategy Brandwidth. There's a video somewhere on my channel about how to do it. If you want to go deep, go there, or look out for the updated version coming out in a couple of weeks. I define Brandwidth as the number of minutes somebody consumes of your content. And our job is to get them to consume more of your stuff much faster. So it doesn't take years anymore, but we can get them there in days or weeks, not months or years. So if you've ever tried to sell with a doc and it hasn't gone exactly how you wanted, the answer is almost never the doc. We can look at that and make any tweaks in 10 minutes. That's easy. The problem is almost always upstream. I could talk about this stuff for days, but we don't have days. We've got one YouTube video. Well, let me just say this. You can get a lot of things wrong. Good content covers a multitude of sins. My friend Sharon says that fame is the most efficient business model. Remember earlier, I told you about my friend whose offer doc reads like a receipt? I mean, literally, it just reads like an itemized list of the 5 or 6 things you're going to get, 1 line per thing, and that's it. No promise, none of that stuff. Yeah. Why does that work? Well, it shouldn't, but it does because he's got a massive line of people queuing up to work with him because of the content he's put out. Lean into that. The biggest mistake I see coaches make with their content is trying to be on all the platforms all the time. It's just the wrong strategy. Unless you're at an 8-figure business, but we are, and I'm only on Instagram and YouTube, and that's kind of it. I just break down the content strategy into 3 phases. If you're under 30K a month, just do this bit. If you're between 30K and say $1 million a year, maybe add this bit. And if you're over, you've got options. This is what you're supposed to do. But it stinks of effort and I'm not doing it. 3 phases. Phase 1, volume. It's about reps. Because when you do the volume, when you do the reps, you learn your voice. you learn your market, and frankly, you learn marketing. At this stage, I reckon it's just like 1 times short form platform, and that's it. Pick the channel that you care about, that you've got an audience with, that you've got an existing audience in, and frankly, the one that you're probably most native to yourself, the one that you go to, that's where you should go. Next level is about value. It doesn't have to be daily at this stage. It can be if you want to, but all we're going to do is we're going to do less, but better. The only real tweak we're going to make is we're going to take your short form platform and we'll probably add 1 long form channel. Highly recommend YouTube. That'll get you to $1 million a year. And if you're lazy or efficient like me, that's all you need for a lot of cash. Phase 3, velocity. This is where you're omnipresent on all the channels all the time, like Hormozy and the big dogs. Cool, you do you. This just comes down to team, tech, and systems. There's 3 levels. I just do this one. Pro tip for the G's. I was talking to an absolute gangster this morning. His channel is way bigger than mine, but he's new to this code and coaching space. He's like, you probably look at my content and see a bunch of things that I could be doing better or that I'm missing out on opportunities. I'm like, frankly, dude, you are killing the game. By the way, I know that you're watching this and I love and appreciate the hell out of you. If you are optimizing for sales, which he's not, there's probably some tweaks I'd make. But he's optimizing for trust. I think the secret to content, regardless of the platform, is number 1, it wants to be useful. Specifically, we're just going to talk about and solve problems that your market has, that you've got an opinion or a contrarian take on. The thing that he's missing is that he's giving away all the secrets. Awesome. But at the end, he creates no tension. Marketing is the creation of desire-based tension. So if you want to up the demand that you create, I think like useful, but incomplete is a nice frame. Our job is really to stretch the gap between where people are and where they want to be, maybe leave some open loops. The truth though is, when you give freely of your information, most people don't go, thanks, I'm going to implement all of this all by myself. Most people go, that's amazing. Now I know someone who can help me. And they just lean and say, hey, you know that thing you told me? I know that I know how to do it, but can you do it with me? That's where you sign clients. Maybe, just maybe, open some loops. Third piece, this is a biggie. Almost nobody does this. We're not posting content for the sake of posting content. Our job is to create content that bridges to our offer doc, to your world, to the next step in your world. So think about when you post a piece of content, is there a natural bridge to the next step? Because a funnel is just a series of easy yeses, and most of us don't link the yeses together. On short form, sometimes it's a call to engagement. If we think about invitations, it's usually a low risk next step or a chance for people to find out how to do the next thing with you. Speaking of which, if this has been useful and you want to know how to implement this whole system and what it really takes to get to $1 million a year, there's a video. It's called the MVP, $1 Million Plan, and it just walks through the whole thing step by step by step. Could be useful. The link's down there. So if you get anything from this video, let it be this. The old way, the way we're taught to sell with sales calls, is based on a world that doesn't exist anymore. The market's different. Your buyers are different. You don't need it. And the only possible reason for selling with sales calls is because you'll want to spend your time taking money from schmucks. So if you hear some guru telling you that the only way to scale is from sales calls, just look them dead in the eye and go, it's my business and I'll do what I want. How do we do it? There's 3 steps. All we need is step 1, a doc, a simple way to make a sale. Step 2, a sales process that gets more people to look at the doc. And then 3rd, demand, so we can get people to watch your stuff and spend a little bit of time, because if they binge, they'll buy. I just realized I've never done coloring in on a YouTube video before. If you want a copy of this, I'll just take photos, make them a PDF, and this could be a nice little summary. I'll put a link in the thing below because it might be useful. So thanks for hanging. It's been really fun. I'll see you in the next one.